Welcome to this Henna's Epic Armageddon battle report. This is a 3000 point game between Adeptus Titanicus, Titan Legion and Tyranids. The lists are NetEA lists and there will be a URL in the description. Then let's look at the lists. First, Titan Legion. And this is what it looks like. Here's first Forged Knights, then we have a single Warhound, then we have a Reaver, which was Supreme Commander, we have a Warlord, which is BTS, then we have 2 Thunderbolts, 2 Warhounds, and a Recon, so Sentinel Gold. And that's the Titan Legion, very few formations. Then Tyranids, here is the list. And first we have Gene Stealers, then we have a formation of Biowars, Dominatrix, and 2 small guns. There's the objectives. And here's the Hierophant. And then we have Exocrines, 8 of them. Then we have the Dactylus formation, Malefactor formation, and finally the more pure infantry warrior formation, and that's Tyranids. Then to deployment. And here we go. So Sentinels go first in the center from Titan Legion, then Biowars behind the hill from the Tyranids, then Forged Knights take right flank. I thought that the Biowars were actually Dactylus and I made a slight kind of silly mistake there, so I was trying to avoid it. But then the Tyranid warrior formation goes to the far right. Then Warhound, the single Warhound with the Inferno Cannon, goes on opposite of the warriors, since that's my main target for them. And then Dactylus formation gets set up, and at this point I realized that they were actually Biowars and not Dactyluses that went behind the hill, so they're right on opposite of my Forged Knights. Then I put the Warhound Pack next to the hill there. The Dominatrix goes on the behind the hill, right behind the Biowars from the Tyranids. Then it's Reaver, who goes to make sure that he gets some shots in, and Hierophant goes to the center, and then the Warlord from the Titan Legion. Now, at this point we realized that we forgot the Gene Stealer garrison, so they get put here, and then my video camera stopped recording for a while, so we missed the last 2 formation setups, but they just start put down since Titan Legion is already set up. So this is what it looks like in the end. The Malefactor and Exocrine formations are now also shown. So Titan Legion has Forged Knights and Warhound Pack on the right flank. In the center we have Warlord and Sentinels in front of the Blitz. And then there is Reaver and single Warhound on the left flank. Opposite of them are the Warriors, the infantry formation, and the Exocrines. Then there is the hill with the Biowars behind it and the Dominatrix. And then we have the Malefactor transport formation there, and the Hierophant and Dactylus, and also the garrisoned Gene Stealers, and that's it. Then on to turn 1. So, Titan Legion wins initiative and lets the Tyranids go first, and the Malefactors decide to march. So they move behind the kind of stone set there. Reaver doubles forwards from the Titans and gets into range of Exocrines. to shoot them. And scores a nice amount of hits, but the exocrines save all the shots, so no damage. The exocrines then advance and getting within range, so they have one blast marker that the Reaver managed to do, nothing else. And then they shoot at the Reaver. And they manage to drop some shields, but nothing else. Then the Recon from Titan Legion, so Sentinels go forward and getting range of Malefactors and fire at them, but only giving a blast marker and nothing else. So then the Dactylists respond by sustaining firing on the Sentinels and destroy 2 and break the formation, so 2 run back. Then Thunderbolts make a ground attack and they target the Gene Stealers but fail to do anything. Tyranid Warriors on the flank then march and they keep the formation. Formation is kept spread out. Some of the units get into cover and others are in the open. There we go. And this prompts the Titan Legions to advance with the Warhound. Now I have a zoom issue there, so unfortunately it looks bad. But the result is a couple of dead Gauns plus 1 Tyranid Warrior, which was the Inferno cannon. Then it's Dominatrix, which advances and moves behind from the hill and targets the Reaver, dropping more shields. But not doing anything else. Then the Warhound Pack, which advances, and they get in within the range of the Gene Stealers, but make sure that they are not within the 40 centimeter engage range of the Gene Stealers, so they're shooting at 45 almost, and manage to kill 5 Gene Stealers. Only 3 survive, which fall back behind the or into the forest, but so that it's over 10 centimeters to the other edge. Then the Bifrost sustain fire targeting Reaver, and again they just, I think they managed now to drop all the shields out of it. So then the Forge Knights double, and they fire some shots at Malefactors, but fail to do anything once more. Then the Hierophant advances, and it moves a little into the forest, and targets the Reaver and fails to do anything either to the tank, but it's collecting a nice amount of blast markers just from being fired upon. And from Titan Legion, lastly, the Warlord doubles, targets the Exocrines with the Quake Cannons and got several hits, but everything is saved, so no damage to them. So that's what it looks like at the end of the turn 1. Titan Legion is aggressively moving forwards, and Tyranids are also swinging forwards. Perhaps not quite as aggressively, but definitely moving forward. And the flank here is showing the Forge Knights and the Warhound Pack controlling this flank with the Gene Stealers broken. And in the center we have the Hierophant at the other end. And then we have Exocrines, Dominatrix, and the Warriors facing Reaver and Warhound. And that's what it looks like. So, turn 2. Titan Legion goes first, and Reaver sustain fires at the Exocrines, and finally manages to actually do something. Although the Plasma Cannon was not fired this turn, since it fired last turn. So 2 dead from the Exocrines. Then retaining the Warlord doubles and swings around the ruin, that rocky area, and kills all Malefactors. Only 2 units within manage to survive. So they run broken into the forest. And they were only Gauns. So then from Tyranids, the Dactylists sustain fire, and they didn't manage to do anything. This Warhound sustains, and killed a couple of more Gauns. The Dactylis shot at Forged Knights but failed to do damage. Then from the Tyranids, the Genestealer engage, and this goes slightly badly for Forged Knights, as they lose several units. Unfortunately, I don't have video for that, but they lose 3 units and Genestealers survived the one, which then the Thunderbolts ground attacked and killed. The Biowars sustain again at the Reaver, not doing any damage. And then it's Titan Legion, and the Warhound Pack doubles. So they move on the other side of the forest, which is now cleared from the Genestealer with Thunderbolts, and shoot at the Dactylis, managing to drop several units and 1 Dactylis as well. Then the Exocrines, which double forward, so they wanted to get within firefight range of the Reaver, if the Reaver can be engaged. And then they shot a couple of units at it, not doing really anything. Then from the Titan Legion, the Recon fails to activate, gets 1 blast marker and breaks, and moves behind the hill. Then the Dominatrix, which sustain fires at the Reaver, I think it did 1 damage, but it broke the Reaver. Then the Tyrant Warriors, which engage the Infantry Swarm, which engages the Warhound. And while they, I think, fail to do any damage on the Warhound, they do win the combat, and the Warhound breaks and falls back. And the warrior group just kind of shuffles a bit. Then the Hierophant, which advances, and it moves within engage range of the Warlord for next turn, should the Tyranids get to move Hierophant before the Warlord. And that's what it looks like at the end of the turn 2. The Warhound Pack front, the right flank of the Titan Legion has crushed its opponents, and the center is also being dominated by the Hierophant and Warlord. On the left flank, the Titan Legion is broken, and the Tyranids seem to have gained the upper hand there. And that's the situation. So Dactylis is facing the Warhound Pack. Then the Forged Knights fail to rally, so they move behind the hill just to keep out of sight, except the Dactylis. Then turn 3. And the Warhound Pack starts, as the Titan Legion go first, and they advance. Now I chose to advance as they weren't within 15 centimeters of the blitz, so they had to get to the blitz, so they advance and then unload all shots at the Dactylis' formation, but they fail to kill the whole formation, so they got 2 Dactylis but nothing else, and that's not enough to break the formation. So retaining the Warlord doubles to get within fire range of them, which leaves it unfortunately within engage range of the Hierophant. I decided that that's worth the risk. So it manages to kill the Tyrant and the last Dactylis, meaning that the BTS is now broken, so the 2 final Gaunt run, and the Blitz is now being controlled by the Warhound Pack. So from the Tyranids, the Hierophant engages the Warlord, so takes control of the objective, assuming that it will win the combat, but can't quite reach the Blitz. Now it wins the combat, but it doesn't destroy the Warlord, so the Warlord just then withdraws, and I think it just got a couple of damage. So then the Thunderbolts make a ground attack and kill the final 2 Gauns. So at this point it's game over, since Titan Legion has Blitz and Break Their Spirit, and the Blitz can't be taken from the Titan Legion. So this is what it looks like in the end. A bunch of broken formations on that side, and the Titan Legion managed to rally both Reaver and Warhound on the other flank, so that would make it even more complicated to try to block the victory conditions. And the Dominatrix can't march to the Blitz. There is not enough range. It doesn't have enough movement to do that. So that's what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed the game. It was fun to play, although AMTL list is kind of odd because you have so few formations. But the music was by Gaming Cloud, and that's the software I used. Thanks for watching. Bye!